for one thing, Al-Qibla. What is Al-Qibla? Al-Qibla for us is Al-Kaaba. Because Qibla means the thing you face, the name of what you face. So the Qibla is the Kaaba. This Qibla is obligatory only for prayer. Only for prayer. It is not obligatory for anything else but prayer. It is sunnah for other things, but not obligatory. For example, if you want to slaughter an animal or sacrifice an animal, it would be sunnah to face the Qibla. It's not obligatory. It's not a condition. The obligation of facing the Qibla is limited to the prayer. And how do you do this? You want to, the scholar said, either face the direction or you want to face the building. This one or that one. That's two sayings. The second saying is the strong saying in the Shafi'i school. You want to face the building of the Kaaba. And these two sayings are not far apart. How close are they? There is a slight difference between them, but how close are they? They are so close that you could apply the same hadith to both sayings. Which hadith? The hadith in which, the Muslims, they used to face Jerusalem for some time after they came to Mecca, after they came to Medina from Mecca. And they did so. Do you remember why? Why were the Muslims, why did Allah command the Prophet ﷺ to face Jerusalem for some time? Does anyone recall why Allah revealed to the Prophet ﷺ to face Jerusalem for some time? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Because the Jews had a prophecy that the last prophet will face the two Qiblas. Remember, the Jews had many signs for Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What did Allah say about them? يَعْرِفُونَهُ كَمَا يَعْرِفُونَ أَبْنَاءَهُمْ. They recognize him like they recognize their own children. And amongst the signs they had for Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that is for the last prophet, is that he would face the two Qiblas. So this was a prophecy that needed to be fulfilled. So when Allah Ta'ala made his prophet go from Mecca to Medina, and there were Jews living in and around Medina, they had all of the signs of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam being the one. They knew the time frame he would appear in. They knew which direction he would come from. Some of them even knew his name, Muhammad. And they knew other things about him. And when he came, they recognized his religion too. That's the important thing. They recognized it. When they saw Islam, they recognized it. It's not the religion of the Arabs. Remember, those were Jews living amongst Arabs. What was the religion of the Arabs at that time? They were idolaters, pagan idol worshippers. Then the Arab man came from Mecca, and he came with a new religion that was controversial at the time. When the Jews saw this religion he came with, they recognized it. They knew. What was it? It was the update. But they were too arrogant, so they didn't accept. So anyway, so there was a time when Muslims were facing Jerusalem. And then Allah Ta'ala revealed to face the Qibla of Abraham again. So when Allah revealed that, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he sent someone to inform the people. So some Muslims were praying when the news came, and right in their prayer, they just turned. right in their prayer. They didn't stop their prayer and turn and start over again. They just turned in their prayer. So, what did they face in this hadith? Did they face the direction or did they face the building? So, either way, either when they turn in that hadith, they turn to face the direction of the Kaaba, or when they turn to face the building of the Kaaba. But there is some difference here, slight difference. That's why someone who says you can face the direction, he's going to say, I have certain room for error, like the Hanafis. Here, if this is a human head from above, and this is his nose right here, and these are his eyes right here, and this is the back of his head right here. The Hanafis, they say, look how a person's face is curved like this. If we were to suppose there was a dot in the back of his head and a line that in the middle, and a line that comes out through his eyes, they said this is good enough. Here, if his Kaaba, if his Qibla is inside of here, this is valid. That's Hanafi school. But I'm going to tell you, very important, because someone's going to not understand this. This does not mean that the Hanafis are saying you have the choice to face anywhere in between here. Don't worry. You can go like this. All of this you have. That's ignorant person. That's not what the Hanafis mean. Because the Hanafis have a rule like the Shafi'is and the Malikis. That rule is you must face what you are most confident about being the accurate direction. You must face what you are most confident about being the accurate direction. So it means that according to them, if you are confident that your direction is one way, it's not permissible for you to face another way. If you're confident that your direction is one way, it's not permissible for you to face another way. But whichever way you faced, here, if you face this way, Yani, let's say, for example, your determination was that you need to face this way. So then, and you can't see the Kaaba though. So then your prayer is valid because you are inside of your room for error. You're facing the direction that's most accurate to you, and you're inside of your room for error. Yeah, and you're not facing the other way, for example. Then your prayer is valid. Okay, so then let's repeat also what we mentioned last time. That there are how many steps for facing the Qibla? How many steps for facing the Qibla? Do you remember? How many steps for facing the Qibla? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 4 steps for facing the Qibla. Anyone remember the first step? First step is having knowledge, such as seeing. And we're going to just mostly say here, seeing it. Knowledge is broader than seeing, but seeing is just easy words. Keep it easy on myself. So if you see the Kaaba, would you after that say, here is the Kaaba right before my eyes? Now let me double check for extra accuracy. Where is the North Star? You don't do it. No need. You don't use anything else. When you have achieved knowledge of the Kaaba's direction. If you don't have that, then you're going to rely on a trustworthy person with knowledge. A trustworthy person with knowledge. You're going to mimic him. He's going to tell you, I see the Kaaba. It's like this. And then you're going to take his word for it because he's trustworthy and he has knowledge because he can see it. Those two together are stronger than you're making a determination by a North Star or the sun. Number 3 is make your own ijtihad, which is your determination. And we're going to come back to this. Bi'ithnillah. And number 4 is to mimic someone. Hope I spelled that right. To copy someone. Why would you do that? Because you're blind or because you are a small child just learning how to pray. You just, now you're only 7 lunar years old. 6.5 solar years old. So you probably don't know how to look at the sun, look at the shadows and things, but it's valid for you to pray. And someone's going to say to you, this way, take you by the shoulders, turn you right, and say like this, pray. And when you get a little bit bigger, then your responsible Muslim guardian is going to either teach you or get you taught about the obligatory knowledge, including how to tell the prayer direction and including how to tell the prayer times. So that's number 4. And we talked about number 1 and number 2, and we delayed number 3 because it really has so many details. What is the strongest sign for making a determination for the Qibla? North Star. Has another name, Polaris. That's its name, Polaris. Why that's the strongest sign by consensus? Because it's always in the same spot. And what other signs do you have, such as the sun and such as the landmarks? This means you are aware of your surroundings. You know the landmarks of where you are. If you are somewhere and the landmarks do not give you any direction, then they are useless for you in terms of your Qibla. But when you know your surroundings, you're going to say, this mountain is north of this village, and this river is south of the village. Like that. Then it's valid for you to use these things to find your Qibla. So let's look at the North Star a little bit. Let's say you were at the Kaaba. Here, this is at the Kaaba. And let's say you were, another person was at the North Pole. So he lives in one of those igloos. So, or he's in Canada somewhere. So at the Kaaba, you would see the North Star just over the horizon, not far, not very high over the horizon. Whereas if you were here in Canada, this is Canada somewhere, or Alaska, where you're going to see that North Star very, very, very high in the sky. Not close to the horizon. So what does that prove? Which one is north of the other? Canada is north of the Kaaba. Because when you see North Star high in the sky, higher in the sky, that means you are further north than a place where if you saw the North Star closer to the horizon. What if, for example, if we remove the example of this igloo here, what if, for example, you were somewhere? Where were you? You were in a jungle somewhere, in tropical region, very warm. And you had yourself a humble hut in the jungle somewhere. It's hot here. And you saw the North Star even closer to the horizon. What does this mean? It means Kaaba is north of you. You're now closer to the equator than the Kaaba is in this jungle here. So I think that's clear. Any question? And not to mention, if you see the North Star, that's pointing to you north. Want to know a way to determine north very exactly? Find the North Star. So let's say this is north, this way. Find North Star. Then you get yourself 2 rods. Put them into the ground plumb. Yani straight up and down. Exactly. Yeah. One of them is shorter than the other one, though. And then what do? You look at the top of both of those. That's you with your legs folded there. You look in such a way that you can see the North Star at the tips of both of them at the same time. That means they're lined up perfectly. Then, when you achieve that, draw a line between these two. Now you have perfect north by observation. And that's a rewardable good deed. Now you have perfect north-south line. And then you have perfect north-south line. Then there's no reason why you can't get perfect east-west line too. So I think that's clear. If you have a question, ask, please. So North Star is the strongest way for determining Qibla. And the sun requires some practice, more practice. Because the sun, if this green line here is the east, it means we're looking into the east. We're facing the east. We're facing the east, then yeah, that means that the south is on our right and the north is on our left. Yes. So where does the sun rise from? Does the sun rise from the same place every day? Due east? No. Rather, throughout the year, the sun is rising from different spots between northeast and southeast. And likewise, if this were the west we were looking at and the sun's going down. So at first this was, if this is east, this means the sun is coming up. So throughout the year, it's coming up from different spots, always from the east, but sometimes on the northern side of east, and sometimes on the southern side of east. And likewise, if this is the western, if that's the western horizon and the sun is going down, the sun is setting in the west always, but sometimes on the southern side of west, sometimes on the northern side of west. Then, how are you going to use the sun for finding Qibla? You need to have practice. Without practice, you have more room for error. That helps make Hanafi school more clear for you. How they said you have range. They don't mean you have choice here, but you don't see the Kaaba in the first place. And maybe you're not even an expert in this. What do you know? You know the sun rises from the east. Is the sun on the southern side right now at the season of east, or is it on the northern side of east? I don't know. For example, it might be someone's cave. I don't know. I just know it rises in the east. It's still morning time, so it must still be in the east. So if I erase these red letters here, even if I erase these little sunrises and sunsets here, a person saw the sun, doesn't mean he knows what to do. It's up now. So where is it? It's in the east? Is it in the southern side of east? Is it in the northern side of east? So now I'm facing it, but am I facing due east? And is it still in the east, or it got to the west already? What time is it? So if it's still in the morning, means still in the east. If Vod came in, means it's in the west now. And even if we say it is in the east, if now I'm just outside somewhere looking at the sun there, am I right here facing this way? Am I perhaps northeast? Maybe east-northeast? Or am I perhaps southeast, east-southeast? I don't know. So that means you need practice so that you become an expert, and then you will be strong in that. Without more practice, the sun, when you use the sun, you have room for error. Now, I'm not any big expert here in this issue, but I've found usually when I use the sun and the shadows to find the Qibla, that I get it right. That's without me being very strong in knowing how far is the sun on the northern side or the southern side of east or west. But the one who has more practice is going to be able to do more pinpointing. If you had less practice, you're going to say, okay, here's the sun. And it's morning time, so it's still in the east. So I'm now facing the sun. I should be facing east. But good thing I learned. I really don't know. I do know that I could be actually tilted south of east right now or north of east right now, because the sun doesn't just rise from due east. Not to mention it's already up now. But you might say, nevertheless, though, this must be east. This is here the direction of east somehow. Is this the direction of east, or is this the direction of east, or is this the direction of east? So I have room for error here. There's the sun in front of me, but is the east like this really, or is the east like this really? Well, I'm not sure. So if I were to assume that this is east here, then now let me look at the shadows, because if the sun is in the east right here, that means the shadow of something should be in the west. Yes. was making sure my letters were right there. You notice I didn't put north at the top of the page. And you notice that every time I keep giving you perspective, a horizontal perspective, that horizontal perspective is very important because that's how we perceive actually. You know, we are human beings right here on the ground, on earth. So I look outside, I look straight ahead of myself. There's a horizon like this. So that's how we perceive things. How we don't perceive things. This model here to say, here's a sphere, and this sphere is actually tilted. And here's north, and here's south, and also this sphere is spinning. None of that do we perceive. We do not perceive any of them. The one who confirms for himself that he is, for example, spinning right now, and that he is in respects to another person upside down. So the one who confirms for himself that he's spinning and upside down, this is the one who is not on the guidance of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is the one who's on the guidance of another. That's not the guidance of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasallam. Our religion didn't teach us to perceive like that, to imagine yourself spinning and upside down, because there's nothing more than imagination. We have no observation of it. They're going to teach that to the children from the time they're like 7 years old, but we have no observation of this. Some people, when they talk about the Qibla, they start here. They start with this imaginary model here. And they talk about the Qibla like that. It's just because they're using this model doesn't mean they're going to come to the wrong answer. If they know how to use the model as a map, if they know how to read the map that's on the model, then doesn't mean they're going to come up to a wrong answer necessarily. But when someone does not know how to read the map and he sees that model as a ball, it's a ball. And in his own mind, really, there's no directions. There's no real directions. There's directions because we say so. Then he might wind up facing the wrong direction. That's part of what happened to people in North America, United States and Canada. They face northeast while they're already north of the Kaaba. The east part is right, but the north part is wrong. Subhanallah. I don't see Muslims from other countries standing up for the Muslims in America about this issue. I think because most people would not defend such a silly thing. So they stay quiet here. Okay, any questions so far? So I just showed you how to use North Star, gave you an idea how to use the sun. And what else is there? There is landmarks. Actually, spoke about that already for you. And the weakest sign is the wind, because it fluctuates. But you could be in an area or a season in which the wind is predictable, and then you can use it to determine directions. Okay. I want to, for your information, tell you some things that do not determine the direction. One thing that does not determine the direction is a shape. Another thing that does not determine the direction is the distance. Like what? Well, let's take a look here. Some people will say, look, we have this sphere here. Yeah, let me do it this way. Keep it easy for myself here. Let's not make it tilted. Let's just say, here's north, here's south for this sphere. And they claim that since the Earth, let's see, look here. They say, look here. They say, look here. Since the Earth is not flat, it's round. They say it's a sphere. So, in order to get from New York to Mecca, we have to go like that because the Earth is not flat. They say, therefore, in the United States, the Qibla is northeast. They say, you only think it's southeast because the Earth is not flat, but you're wrong. You don't know what you're doing. And they say, no, no, no. The shape of the Earth is something we do not ignore, brother. So I would say to them, you should ignore the shape of the Earth. You're going to say, what? That's crazy. Why? Because number one, the religion never told you that you had to know the shape of the Earth. You might say, well, we know though. I'll say to them, you might think you know, but the religion never said that you had to know. So if the religion never said that you had to know, that means that the religion did not incorporate the shape of the Earth into the rules of the Qibla. You don't even have to know the shape of the Earth according to the rules of the religion. So somebody might say, you deny the Earth is round? So I'll say, what I just said is not a denial. What I just told you is you don't have to know. Whatever it is, whether you're right or you're wrong, what the shape is, you don't even have to know. It's not a condition. You don't use it to find the Qibla. Because, for example, what if the world were a pyramid? What if the world were a cube? Or the like. What if the world were like a cylinder? Does that change? Does that shape change what? Does that shape change north and south? The shape doesn't change north and south. The shape doesn't change north and south. The shape is not bound to the surface, the direction. The direction is not bound to the surface. Direction is not stuck to the surface. So the shape doesn't dictate the direction. If we can put north and south on a ball, on a sphere rather, a sphere, and likewise put west and east on the sphere, we can also put north and south and west and east on the other things. It's not the shape. So don't use the shape to determine the Qibla. Do you have any question about that? And also, you don't use the distance. Because here's your Kaaba, for example. Yeah, this represents the Kaaba. So if you are here, facing it, then what if you are here, further away? Did the direction change by the distance? No, direction did not change by the distance. The one who's right in front of it is facing it. The one who's far away from it also is still facing it. The distance didn't change the direction. So then we don't use the distance for finding the Qibla. Somebody might say, nah, not when you're close. The distance doesn't matter when you're close. The distance does matter when you're far, though. That's his claim. If you told me that, I'll say, that's your claim. He might say, no, I'll show you. I'll tell you why. Because what if here, if this is the Kaaba, if this is the Kaaba, this is looking down, bird's eye view, and I am here in front of the Kaaba, seeing it, then I know its direction. But what if I were very far away? Very far away. I can't see the Kaaba. Yani, if I was really close to the Kaaba, then I'm facing it. If I back up, still facing it. If I get further, okay, I'm still facing. But eventually I'm gonna get so far I can't even see it. And whether I turn this way or I turn that way, it's almost the same. Yani, if there's car outside. I see the car outside. So if I'm right in front of the car, it means I'm right there. Okay. But if I back up, if I get so far enough, then if I turn a little bit like this and turn a little bit like that, the car is always down there. It's not the same thing. So the answer is now the direction is one direction. Because the Kaaba doesn't go anywhere. Rather, it is your inability to pinpoint it as you get further away. It's not that the distance made the direction change. The distance did not make the direction change. It was your farness that impeded your ability to more accurately pinpoint the spot you want. If you were right in front of it, you're going to be able to pinpoint the spot you want. Because you're right there. When you get far and you can't see, then you have more room for error. This doesn't make the direction change, though. The direction didn't change because of the distance. That's clear? I think it's clear, inshallah. But that person is going to say, no. You are wrong. I'm going to show you why. Now I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to show you why. I'm going to prove you wrong here. He's going to say to me, here, the earth is a sphere. Do you agree? I'm going to tell him, no, I don't agree. I don't agree. So he said, what? You didn't go to school? Say, I went to school. You don't know. I said, listen, man, I don't agree. So you're not going to be able to prove your point now? Now you're going to argue with me? You're going to insult you want to insult my education now that you're not able to complete your argument because I don't agree with your first premise? I don't agree. Now what you're going to do? I don't even need the shape of the earth to determine the Qibla. I don't agree. So what you going to say now? Okay. I just ruined my own scenario that I want to build for you. So let's start over again. So a person says, now I'm going to prove you wrong now. I'm going to show you now why you're wrong. Here's the earth. It's not asking me if I agree or not. He says, look, here's Kaaba right here. Okay. Here are we. We're right here. It says, look, this is why the distance matters for the direction, because how do we know that the Kaaba is east of us? He said, because if we go from where we are east, we're going to get to the Kaaba faster because it's closer than if we go all the way around the world and come back and come to the Kaaba from the other side. If we go west and then come around the whole world and come to the Kaaba from the other side, we still get to the Kaaba. But it took longer. So that's why we're not going to say that the Kaaba is west of us, although we can get there going west. Why? If we can get there going east and we can get there going west, why are we going to say it's east of us? You're going to say because east is shorter. So therefore, the distance matters. Anybody have an answer for that? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Answer is, you say to the person, that's a theory, which you said here, going west, come around the world, coming all the way back around, and come to the Kaaba from behind, from the other side. That's a theory. We don't use theories in our religion. He's gonna say, what? A theory? What are you talking about, a theory? You stupid or something? I'll say then, well, did you ever do it? They'll say, oh, of course I never did it. I know you never did it. I know. Do you know somebody who did it? Do you know any person who ever did that? He's gonna say, bro, don't be ignorant. Oh, it's okay. Just answer me though. Do you know any person who ever did that? Bro, no, just tell me. It's a yes or no question, please. Do you know somebody who did that? Please. No. Okay. So then this is what I'd like for you to do for me. Why don't you start? Go west. When you get to the Kaaba, so you're in North America, go west from North America. When you get to the Kaaba from the other side, you're going to let me know. Then we'll have discussion. We'll start the discussion over from then. Until then, don't use theories to talk about our religion. The way you know east is that east is where the sun rises. See the sun rising in the morning? That's east. Although you know that might be on the north side of east or the south side of east. The more experience you have, the more you can know. Excuse me. Likewise, if you see the sun going down, then that's the west. Although could be on the east, the north side of west or the south side of west. And if you see the North Star, you have to know how to locate it. Then that's the north. This is how you know directions, not which way we will get there faster. If we go that way, we will get there faster. That's not the way you know the directions. We'll stop there, inshallah. Do you have any question I can answer for you?